Hey, Ron here. And did you hear that they had a straight pride rally in Detroit? And they're planning another one in Boston. You might have heard about the latter one, but not the former one, because the former one wasn't billed as a straight pride rally. It was billed as a neo-Nazi pack breaking up a gay pride rally. With a police escort, of course. But I would argue that these two things are identical. That they serve the same purpose, and they have the same motive. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, I think for context we have to talk about pride as a concept first. There is a misunderstanding, a deliberate misunderstanding, mind, that pride events are meant to be contentious, that they are meant to be exclusionary, that they are for gay people only, or they're, in instances such as, like, with Juneteenth celebrations, they're only for black people. With, like, Cinco de Mayo, they're only for Hispanic people. That's not true. People whom I've spoken to who organize these things and participate in these things, and my personal experience having attended these events frequently, is that it is not exclusionary. Like I said, I've been invited to a number of these events. For the past 5 years or so, I've been fairly consistently, not only have I fairly consistently attended the Pride event, the major Pride celebration here in Springfield, but I've been invited to it by someone in the capacity of helping run a stand, or helping with errata with the whole event. I went there with the intent. I went to the Pride in Springfield just this year, just a couple of weeks ago, with the intent of filming it and recording that online, but I was very politely asked by a litany of signs not to record anyone there, and I chose to respect that. But, like, on the other hand, I was recognized by someone about half an hour in, who grabbed me and said that they needed me to help them hold down a fort. Literally. They had me standing there for about an hour and a half, holding a strap to keep a canvas stand rooted on the ground. It was very windy that day. So, these events are not exclusionary. There is even a basis for, especially in, like, a gay pride, there is especially a basis for straight people to come and celebrate there. Like, I know a lot of people who don't identify as straight. I know a lot of gay people, a lot of bisexual people, a lot of asexual people even. And I am proud that our country now recognizes those people legally as having the same rights as I do. So, the notion that these events are exclusionary is nonsense. It is flatly wrong. Even, like, Cinco de Mayo or Juneteenth celebrations. I was invited to a Juneteenth celebration. I didn't go because I had other things I had to do, like the yard work. My mother was going to get a fucking ticket from the Better Home Bureau or something. Point is, these things are not contentious. They invite everyone, because their purpose is to celebrate that they have rights. It's very easy to forget, especially in the case of, like, gay pride, that not straight people, not just gay people, but anyone who is not straight, has only had the same rights, the same legal privileges as straight people for less than 10 years. And it's equally easy to forget that those rights have been under assault for about as long. Or longer, even. Like, it was literally illegal in some parts of the country to be a gay person up until about 1993. I want to say 1993, when sodomy laws were overturned. Before that happened, though, before non-straight people gained those rights, those pride parades, they served a purpose of calling to gain those rights, to be freed from oppression. Which brings us back to the street pride parade, because these people, the language that they've used, the things that they've said. You know, it's fair to say that they believe themselves to have been oppressed. And I'm going to tell you that it's worthwhile to ask who they think that they're being oppressed by, but only because we know who they think they're being oppressed by. Because they're neo-Nazis, because they're fascists, because the people who are organizing these things are bigots of all stripes. You have to have the Street Pride Parade in Boston is being marshaled by Milo Yiannopoulos. You have to meet a certain bigotry threshold before Milo Yiannopoulos gets involved in something. That's why it's so hard for him to find work anymore. The people hosting these things think that they are being oppressed because non-straight people have the same rights as they do. And presumably because black people and because immigrants have the same rights that they do. That's what this is about. And it's nonsense. Like, that's the most charitable interpretation. The less charitable interpretation is that they explicitly want to take space from gay people and black people and immigrants. Space that they feel has been wrongfully wrested from them. Space that they feel belongs to them. That's why the neo-Nazis crashed a Pride Parade. It wasn't about celebrating their straightness. It was about interfering with another group, with taking something back. So what I've read is that the mayor of Boston doesn't plan on doing anything, although, you know, with these politicians, it's hard to tell anymore. They just fucking lie about everything. Like, there's some bullshit with Nancy Pelosi and impeachment that I might talk about at a later date, maybe next week. But he's saying that there's not really anything he can do to stop the rally, even though he could just decide not to sign off on it. And he should. Because the people who are organizing this are planning on it being the next Charlottesville. Or at least the neo-Nazis in Detroit did. And the people who are organizing this event in Boston are the same people who organized the event in Charlottesville. Some of the same people. It's the same kind of groups. And in some cases, literally the same people. That's one of the troubling things about there being a police escort for the neo-Nazis that crashed the Gay Pride Parade. They did that. Not only did the neo-Nazis intended to go there and cause mayhem and maybe kill people. And we know that because the police department knew that. And the police department knew that because they'd found messages, they'd found and intercepted messages that these neo-Nazis had sent each other about doing the next Charlottesville. Which is to say, they wanted to cause a fucking riot. And the police department not only let them do their thing anyway, but they provided a police escort for a bunch of armed fucking neo-Nazis. The police are not on our side, the side of the people who are fighting oppression. They are on the side of white people. I'm becoming more cognizant by the day that I'm a white person. The police are not on the side of the people who are fighting oppression. They are on the side of the oppressors, because the oppressors are in power right now, and power follows power. So, there's a good chance that this thing in Boston is going to go down, but maybe we can stop it. So, what we can do is we can call the Boston Police Department, and we can call the Boston Governor's Office, and we can tell them who these people are and what they do. And we can tell them in such huge numbers that it can't be ignored. Or if it is ignored, you know, we can just fucking kick them. If you live in Boston, or around Boston, if you live in Massachusetts? Yeah, Massachusetts. Then take some time, take a day out of your schedule to drive to Boston and file a complaint of some kind with the mayor? That if you live in Boston, call the mayor and tell him that if this goes down, you are not going to vote for him again. I've said this before. Charlottesville was a legal rally right up until it wasn't. And it wasn't the mayor who stopped it, it was the governor, as soon as he saw that it was becoming a riot and it was becoming untenable. Like, it wasn't out of the kindness of his heart. Sean did a video about Charlottesville. I'll link that in the underbar, along with some other resources about the things that I'm talking about. We know where this is going. We know where this is going because it's happened once before. And we know that these people want to do it again. So we have to stop it. We have to do everything in our power to stop it. Take any kind of reasonable measure. Does that count as a call to action? I think that counts as a call to action. Call the mayor, call the police office. If you know any individual police officers in Boston, complain to those people, please. Do everything in your power to stop this from happening, because it's not going to go well. I think that's everything I had to say. Very gentle reminder, I do have a Ko-Fi, an account where you can provide me with a little bit of money to support the series, the YouTube channel. If you think it's worth supporting, don't feel obligated to do that. I'm going to continue making videos whether or not I receive financial payments. But I do have bills to pay. Like, my basement just flooded last night, and I'm gonna need stuff to clean it up. So, yeah. That's everything. Next video, on Saturday, which is the usual time, is going to be about why the police are racist. Well, how the police, as an institution, are necessarily racist, and maybe how we can take steps to rectify that. Maybe. I'm not done with the script yet. So, until we get there, take care of yourselves, alright? Wait, it's also Pride Month. Happy Pride!